Hi, in this technique tutorial, we'll be looking at using an X-Arcade controller with VDMX. These are really cool if you want to have a arcade style setup for a show where people can actually come up and use a physical interface. So another thing that's great about these is that they just work as a standard keyboard input. So what we can do to begin is load in some media files. So I've got some blue screen footage. And just like I would with any keyboard shortcuts, I'm just going to hit the detect button here, and they'll just show up as keyboard shortcuts. And with this controller, you can actually remap what each button sends off. You just need a PS2 controller. So next, I'm going to add another media bin. And let's load in some other files that we could use as background images. So let's just grab these files and load them in here onto another page. And I'll map this out as well. So I'll hit detect, and we'll map out this next row of keys. And we're going to want this on a separate layer, so I'll make this layer 2 and configure it this way. So now we can trigger things here and on a background layer. But since we've got this blue screen footage, one thing I'm going to do is go under masking and add a chroma mask. I'm going to use a preview window plugin. Preview layer 1 before any effects are added, and go back here, hit sample, and grab a pixel from the background so that I can key out the background. In this case, I'm going to want to use the hard cutout option, and then I'm just going to go down here to composition mode, and now I've got my dancing blue screen person in front of my background footage, and I can change each one of them if I want to. So this is a quick way that I can build a setup for somebody else to play with. Next, I'm going to set up some of these other buttons. So one thing that's fun to play with here for video clips, especially when you're using the joystick controller, are these jump forward and backwards buttons. So I'm just going to assign those using hardware learn mode. I'm going to use up here, hardware learn toggle, or just Command L, click on a button, and now I'm going to rock this controller to the left, and I'm going to click on this and rock it to the side, hit Command L, and now I can remix my character and change it using the joystick or these buttons. So, fish suit, remix, good times, change your backgrounds. So you can remap these however you want. In this media bin 2, we have a lot more than just 3 clips, so maybe we want to set the transpose here. So I'm going to hit detect and hit up for up and down for down. So now I can scroll through my second media bin to select which background selections I want by going up and down, and I can remix by going left and right. But you can of course configure this however you want. And I've got 2 buttons left on this controller, or at least that are visible. There are a bunch more. And maybe I'll just use these for other effects on the background. So I'll go down here, and let's pop this open into its own window. And let's try maybe something that's just going to happen for a second. So under color effect, I'll do maybe RGB strobe, which makes things go pretty crazy. And I'm just going to do a quick key detect here, because I only want to do one. So that'll just be my on-off for crazy background strobe on that layer. That's a lot of fun. And now let's do something similar on this layer. Let's open up its effects into another window. And I'm going to use, once again, let's just have this chroma mask closed and go under load asset, color effect. I'll use the same RGB strobe, but instead of having it strobe the color, I can have it strobe the alpha. That's less interesting. So let's just have it do strobe the whole character. And once again, I'll just do key detect. So now I can strobe either of these or both of them. If I want to set these to be momentary instead of to be toggles, I can go into my UI inspector. So I hit Command 2 to bring this window up. And once I've clicked on this on-off button, you'll see down here there's a toggle on input option and a val from input. So if I switch this to val from input, now I have to hold down on this button in order to get the strobe, and when I let up, it goes back to normal. So this might be more preferable behavior. And I'll just go over to the other layer and apply the same change. So I'll switch this to valve from input mode. And now I have to hold down in order to get the background to strobe. And this is just one out of an infinity of ideas that you can use to play with this. And this controller also has a right side that is identical, but they send off different keystrokes. So you can map this out double and maybe look at the tutorial on using multi-screen so that you can have this for multiple players at a conference or a show, whatever you're doing, where you want to have the audience play with it. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please let us know.